I was born and raised in the city of Lutsk, in western Ukraine. My Ukrainian grandmother, who just turned 80 earlier this year, used to share with me stories about her own childhood, stories that shaped my perception of adversity and resilience. My grandmother was one of 9 children. Her mother struggled with a mental illness, and her father was the only breadwinner for the family. They were extremely poor, uneducated, living in harsh, often dangerous conditions. One time when my grandmother was just a teenage girl, she was invited by her friends to attend a village dance. My grandmother really wanted to go to the dance, but she had no shoes. Not that she didn't have any dance shoes, she had no shoes at all. So she borrowed some paint from her brother, who was an artist, and then painted shoes on her feet. When I picture my grandmother painting over her feet, I realized that she was actually covering herself with compassion. The word compassion from Latin means to suffer with. So when we extend compassion to ourselves or parts of ourselves, that would be self-compassion. I was not familiar with the term self-compassion until about 5 years ago. At that time, I'd been working in suicide prevention for a while and recovering from a 10-year-long history of eating disorders. So I was trying to read as many self-help books as I could lay my eyes on. I remember that moment when my reading device recommended me a book titled Real Love. When I saw it, I thought, I really need that. And then I saw the name of the author, Vira Salzburn. So I thought, well, her last name is Salzburg, my last name is Salzburn, meant to be. In her book, Vira Salzburn, who is considered to be the mother of loving-kindness meditation in the West, mentions the work of doctors Kristin Neff and Christopher Germer and their mindful self-compassion program. I remember researching the program and reading about self-compassion for the first time while saying to myself, how did I not know about this before? What's wrong with me? I'm such an idiot. Looking back, I recognize the irony of it. The irony and the fact that we are so hard on ourselves, and we are often more compassionate toward others than we are toward ourselves. In Buddhist philosophy, there is this parable of 2 arrows. When we experience pain, physical, emotional, relational, it is as if our heart has been shot with an arrow. It hurts. And then we have a tendency to shoot ourselves with the second arrow, the arrow of self-judgment. So rather than holding our already bleeding heart with tenderness and understanding, we magnify the pain by criticizing, shaming, and blaming ourselves for something that is a common human experience. I've trained thousands of people in suicide prevention. Doctors, bartenders, teachers, students, farmers, firefighters. I've heard hundreds of stories from those who lost their loved ones to suicide, those who attempted suicide, and those who struggled with thoughts of not wanting to live anymore. And let me tell you, this second arrow of self-judgment is so present in the hearts of those affected by suicide. It is so big and so deep that it often prevents people from just being and breathing. After becoming a mindful self-compassion teacher, it only made sense to integrate this program into our existing community-based suicide prevention efforts as an upstream approach to suicide prevention. So in addition to pulling people out of the river of suicide through effective interventions, we needed to go up the river to begin to repair the broken bridge to stop people from falling into it in the first place. A significant body of research shows that self-compassion serves as a protective factor for suicidal behaviors. And it provides a buffer between the feelings of shame and depression for those who had attempted suicide. Also, in addition to decreasing negative mind states such as anxiety, depression, loneliness, shame, self-compassion is linked to an increase of positive mind states such as happiness, well-being, optimism, and gratitude. The model for a comprehensive approach to suicide prevention, published by the National Suicide Prevention Center, includes enhancing life skills and resilience and promoting social connectedness and support. Exercising self-compassion is, in fact, a resiliency-building practice rooted in learning how to relate to our experiences with a kind and non-judgmental attitude. When we bring this warmer quality of attention into our daily life, it leads to a deepened connection and acceptance of others and ourselves. And that's how self-compassion helps save lives from suicide. In Ukrainian tradition, when a young couple gets married, they receive as a gift this handmade runner, usually made by the grandmother in the family. It's a piece of white fabric with black and red stitching on it. The fabric represents the field of life. The black threads represent sorrow, and the red ones represent love. When we meet our suffering with compassion, it's the moment of intertwining the threads of sorrow and love into the fabric of life. It's the moment of painting our hearts with hope so they can go dance again. As a poet at heart, I would like to share with you a poem that I wrote titled "The Sun and I." I was going to say goodbye to the sun. It's been good to me since I woke up this morning with pain in my joints, plans in my journal. I didn't have to chase it. It's been waiting for me in the thin gap between the curtains, as new as an idea, as old as an opinion. It meant to show me something other than what I thought. The reason for light, not the light of reason. I understand, I sighed. You don't exist for me or because of me. We exist together. So we went about our day, performing our rituals, perfecting our love. I was going to say goodbye to the sun. Instead, I said, "Thank you